Say you've got a mate who's like, do you want some cheese? And you're like, well, no, because I don't like cheese. Well, do you want some of this cheddar? Try this cheddar. And you're just like, okay, cheddar's a nice, easy cheese to like. I like that. Okay, you like that. Have some brie. So you try a bit of brie. Ooh, yeah, I'm in a brie mode now. That's very nice. It's very nice. And before you know it, your mate's going, do you want to hang out on Saturday? And you're like, I can't because I'm going to a cheese festival. This is like wrestling this week. Shut up, it is, and I'll explain. This is NXT Graded. We start with a triple threat match, the winner going on to the finals of the Cruiserweight Championship tournament. It's Jake Atlas versus Kushida versus Drake Maverick. Atlas and Kushida are getting a lot of shine in this one, changing offense quite a bit. Drake seems to be on sort of the periphery for the majority, getting the odd bit of a flurry, but more often than not on the receiving end. He's working with an injured arm from last week. Kushida tries to capitalize on that by putting in the armbar, but Drake almost wins the same way as he won last week by rolling through, only getting a 2 count this time. It all comes to a head when Jake Atlas and Kushida fly off the top rope and Kushida locks in that armbar onto Atlas. And Drake Maverick crawls over, having been beaten for the majority of the match, puts an arm over Jake Atlas's chest, and the ref counts 3. And just like that, Drake Maverick is in the finals of the Cruiserweight Championship tournament. After the match, Fantasma comes out, his opponent, in the final. They shake hands, and Drake says, it's not just about a title, it's about my job. And a lovely way to end the match. You just see Drake, who is a combination of giddy with happiness and just a bit overwhelmed by the whole thing. Giving this match a B, some great offense between Kushida and Atlas. I want to see these guys have a feud. And Drake played his role really well as well. Kind of thought the crowd would be a bit more behind Jake. It's NXT trainees in the crowd this time, and they've got a lot more leeway than I think the crowd on Raw did, where it was very much like boo the faces, cheer the heels. They're kind of cheering who they like, and the crowd are very behind Jake, which is great because it's organic. But I kind of hope the first time we have a live crowd, they'd just be 100% pulling for Drake Maverick, which I didn't feel from this one. But either way, solid match. Drake's in the final. Get in. Also, top marks to Mauro Ranallo comparing Drake Maverick to Leicester City. I like that. I like that. On we go with Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. We get the spiel from Gargano saying that he's upset that his points are being misconstrued. He says there's a lot of people that deserve opportunity. There's some great talent in NXT. He then makes eye contact with Bugenhagen, to which he changes his stance by going, there's some good hands. That was a good little gag. It's the Johnny Gargano Invitational. Someone's going to get a chance to prove themselves against Gargano, and this week it involves Adrian Alanis, who Gargano almost announced as Adonis. It's a little fun gag there. Alanis accepts a handshake from Gargano to start with, and Gargano just cheap shots in. We see Alanis try and fight back into the match, but alas, Gargano just has outwitted him from the beginning. Super kick, Gargano escape, Gargano wins. As Gargano and Candice celebrate in the ring, on the big screen, we go to Keith Lee and Mia Yim. They're lampooning Dinner with the Garganos, complete with black and white filter, and Mia Yim at a torch, shining it under her face, making potted comments about Candice LeRae. Keith Lee does the same for Johnny Gargano, acknowledging all the fourth wall breaking. It was very good. They're getting takeout for tea as opposed to cooking. Enter Tegan Knox with a pizza from Gargano's Pizza that she's eaten all but one slice of. Very nice indeed. I'm sure as Tegan Knox leaves, she says Yakida, which I liked. Yeah, this is just Keith Lee and Mia Yim playing silly buggers. Gargano and Candice are very upset. B- for the whole segment. The match itself, there was nothing to it. It was just a whole segment of Gargano in his pomp, followed by Gargano and Candice getting mocked by Keith Lee and Mia Yim. So all in all, it was a segment that made me smile. Drake Maverick is backstage and he's flustered because he's realised that Jake Atlas tapped out at the same time as he got the pin, and Drake's contemplating whether or not they have a rematch. But then Kushida comes up, nice guy Kushida, slaps Drake on the chest and says, fight for your title, fight for your job. And Drake promises that when he wins the Cruiserweight Championship, he's going to give the first shot to Kushida, and then you just see Drake just go from concerned and stressed to just elated to be in the finals. Go on, Drake. I'm a bit biased. He's a West Midlands boy. Go on, Drake. After the new NXT Tag Team Champions, Imperium put themselves over and dissed the Britam Brawlers. It's time for Tank Girl Shotzi Blackheart versus Dakota Kai's muscle, Raquel González. Raquel barely leaves her feet in this match. I think whenever she does, it's to drop and or miss an elbow. And Shotzi is desperately trying to take her down, but Raquel is barely moving, just throwing her around for the majority of this one. We do see Shotzi start to get into this match, at which point Dakota Kai takes evasive action and tries to steal Shotzi Blackheart's tank. Enter Tegan Nox, who pushes Dakota Kai out of the tank. And I tell you what, Kai hits the floor with a thud. Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox are now ringside, with Tegan spotting for Shotzi as she's trying to fight against González. We finally see Shotzi get a fight back into this match. She hits a coffin drop to the floor that nearly breaks her neck. Shotzi, are you okay? Jeebus. As there's stuff happening outside the ring, Candice LeRae makes an appearance and she's chewing out Tegan Nox for her involvement in the skits that Keith and Mia did earlier on. And in the distraction, we see Shotzi go for an acid drop onto Raquel González. Kai gets on the ropes and stops that happening. Moments later, González hits a one-arm slam for the 1, 2, 3, and González has pinned Shotzi Blackheart. Oh, naughty González. B- for this one. Lots of good action from lots of moving parts here. Some lovely stories being told. Big tank energy from Shotzi Blackheart after her vignette last week. Very much now in the mix when it comes to the women's division in NXT. Raquel González playing her role as just monster muscle really well. The Nox and Kai thing continues to rumble on. I guess they want to get one more big match out of that for this. But and everything else around it was just a highly enjoyable sports entertainment fest, which is why I'm giving it a B-. We get a promo hyping Finn Balor versus Damian Priest at In Your House TakeOver. Damian Priest says that Balor's name will turn to ash. Finn Balor says that Damian Priest will kneel at his altar before he buries him. Whoa, nice. Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai are teaming up next as Io Shirai makes her way out. Mauro Ranallo gives a nod to the late Hana Kimura. Rest in power, Hana Kimura, and just cuts down cyberbullying. Really, really classy bit by Mauro Ranallo as Shirai makes her way out to the ring. She and Ripley tonight are facing Charlotte Flair and her mystery tag team partner, Chelsea Green. Okay, it's good exposure for Chelsea Green. The story of this match was really good, actually, really well played. So you had Chelsea Green just constantly in this match, but and getting a shoe-in from Ripley or from Shirai. And every time Chelsea started to gain the offense, Charlotte was on the outside of the ring, calling for Chelsea Green to tag her in. So Charlotte was basically playing like head mean girl, and it works really well for her. Like the combo of Charlotte and Chelsea Green, of Chelsea just sort of being a minion, was a really nice one. Throughout the match as well, Ripley is foaming at the mouth. She wants a piece of Charlotte Flair, but Charlotte keeps ducking and diving. In fact, I think the only bit of interaction these two get is a couple of cheap shots by Charlotte and an attempt at a figure eight. Ripley doesn't get much of Charlotte, but Shirai does. Shirai unloads on Charlotte late on into this match. Shirai goes for a springboard dropkick. Chelsea Green appears and pushes Charlotte out of the way, taking the bullet for her teammate. Shortly after this, there's malfunctions at the junctions as Shirai ends up crashing into Ripley, sending her off of the apron. Charlotte rolls up Shirai with feet on the ropes to get the cheeky 3-count win, with the referee not seeing the feet, and Flair gets one up on the two that she's challenging her for her title at TakeOver In Your House. This is a B. Really great tag team match, told a really great story with all of this. I genuinely think there is something to this Chelsea Green Charlotte Flair combo. Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano are seething about Mia Yim and Keith Lee taking the mick out of them earlier on. So Johnny Gargano is facing Keith Lee at TakeOver In Your House for the North American title. Candice isn't going to wait that long to get her hands on Mia Yim. They're fighting next week, and Candice LeRae says, as for Tegan Nox, you should be ashamed of yourself. Which is up there in terms of slapbacks with I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. We have a Zoom meeting between Adam Cole and William Regal. There's a negotiation between these two parties. Adam Cole is fed up of the Velveteen Dream sticking his oar in his business, and he wants not only rid of the Dream, but he wants a tag title shot for the Undisputed Era. William Regal says, actually, Velveteen Dream deserves another title shot. Adam Cole gets very upset at the idea of that, to which Regal says that Adam Cole should probably stop acting like a Bay. Adam Cole finds that gag funny, saying it's almost as funny as when he was the real man's man. Oh, shots back and forth. So the overall bit of this segment is that we have a title match for TakeOver in your house. It's Adam Cole versus the Velveteen Dream. And William Regal is going to pick a location that is suitable for the spotlight for these competitors. So expect something cinematic fantastic, possibly from this match. The other caveat being that if Adam Cole beats Velveteen Dream, Dream does not get another shot at the NXT title whilst Cole is champion. Adam Cole says he's fine with that and then signs off the Zoom call. I'm actually... Okay, I know you don't like it when I sit on the fence, but I'm sitting on the fence and I'm getting splinters in my bum for it. I'm not racing this segment, and I'll tell you why. The barbs between Regal and Cole were great. There was some really good lines between them both, but I didn't like the Zoom aspect of it. I didn't like it. And this is why I'm not grading it, because they've not done that out of a stylistic choice. They haven't. Regal's not available to be at the Performance Center. Adam Cole wasn't there for whatever reason. You know, there's a lot going on in the world right now. So this is kind of the only way you can do this stuff. The lines were great. This would have just been... I think this would have been such a hot promo had it been live. I think had this been live, we probably could have been teasing the idea of Cole versus Regal. It was that good. But it lost something on when it came to a Zoom call. So I don't want to downgrade it because of that, nor do I want to grade it too high because I didn't like the aesthetic. So I'm gonna be the better obscure company here, and I'm not gonna grade it. There you go. You're welcome. We get a Brit and Brawlers video package. We find out about the upbringing of Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. They both say the other hits really, really hard. They're meeting in a pub. They're breaking social distancing to go to presumably a pub that is open illegally to drink pints of water and discuss plans going forward. So the long and short of this is that Brit and Brawlers are coming for Imperium's NXT tag team titles, and they ching their glasses at the very end to mark the occasion. Why would you break into a pub to drink pints of water? I liked it though. It's nice to see the Brit and Brawlers getting a little bit of a backstory to them, and it's nice to see Oney Lorcan not talking in block capitals. Leon Ruff faces Tommaso Ciampa next. Ruff is getting a lot of love from the crowd, the WWE trainees really behind Leon Ruff, to the point that where Tommaso Ciampa comes out, he gets booed. And I wasn't sure whether this was the right call. And I even asked the question on Twitter about it, because I thought, is this just me? Like, I get that you support your own. Like, Leon Ruff is a trainee, so like the trainees are there backing him in this moment. But if you're booing Tommaso Ciampa on TV, then you're gonna give an impression to a passive audience that Tommaso Ciampa's a bad guy. Which is, and you can't argue, oh, they bought a ticket, they can do what they like because they're trainees. And to me, I felt like maybe that this was against the grain, but I spoke to people on Twitter and I kind of get both sides of it. You don't want a very filtered crowd like you've had on some of these shows where they've cheered the faces heavily, booed the heels not so heavily. You can tell it's a bit more relaxed this time round. And also it's the idea that Leon Ruff is in the Performance Center where he spends so much of his time and he's surrounded by his peers. So he's kind of got the home field advantage over Tommaso Ciampa. If you get... So I'm seeing it from both sides, so I do get it. It just jarred a little bit with me. Ciampa comes out either way, and Scarlett follows him. Karrion Kross's significant other heads out with him. She stands at the bottom of the ramp as Ciampa gets into the ring. He's distracted by her, which allows Leon Ruff to get the jump on Tommaso Ciampa. Ruff gets quite a bit in, stumbles a little bit through a spot, one of the few spots in this match, ends up eating a knee from from Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa blows a kiss to Scarlett, hits the fairy tale ending, and wins this one in relatively quick order. As Ciampa celebrates, Scarlett heads up the ramp, and then the face of Karrion Kross in an extreme close-up appears. And Karrion Kross says that he is going to give Tommaso Ciampa something at TakeOver in Your House that he's never been given before. Wonder if he'll make him feel a vase shaped like a giraffe. Maybe. B- for this. The match itself was there was not much to the match. And again, like a combination for me, like the crowd booing Ciampa. The bit of the fluff in the middle of it sort of brought the match down, but just generally the aesthetic around Ciampa and Kross, the thing with Kross at the end on the big screen. So like the whole dress up around this pushed the grade up for me. Just into that B-, just into that B- category. Like we literally just clicked over like it's the Wheel of Fortune wheel. It's main event o'clock and we are looking at the NXT fight pit. This is brilliant. They've taken the ropes off, they've taken the turnbuckles out. It's just the canvas, big steel cage all around it with platforms. This is very impressive. Kurt Angle makes a return to the WWE after a long 4 weeks since being sacked. He is the guest referee as Timothy Thatcher faces Matt Riddle. The match that we have here, if the match that we had with them last time was skimmed, this is drifting towards full fat. This was just ground, pound, clawing, grabbing, pulling, stretching. Within the first few minutes of this match, Riddle has gone so heavy in on Timothy Thatcher that he collapses. He's barely able to make the 10 count, and blood pours out of his mouth, and he's holding in his hand 2 of his teeth. He gets checked over by the medical guys before they carry on. So Kurt Angle takes his teeth off him. So I like the fact that Kurt Angle refereed the rest of this match with 2 of Timothy Thatcher's teeth in his pocket. Thatcher fires up after the break and he is wearing down Riddle with stretches and ground and pound. Riddle is fighting back. We see Thatcher, though, try and break Riddle with a triangle choke. Riddle's able to deadlift him up. It looks like he's going to bomb him or throw him into the cage. But Thatcher manages to grab the platform and hoy himself up, and they end up fighting on the platform from here. We see Riddle miss a running Broton, just smashes into the platform. The grapevine ankle lock from Thatcher nearly gets a tap out win. We also see Thatcher go for a butterfly suplex onto Riddle to take him out, but Riddle ends up managing to get Thatcher down and into the pit, and when he's down there, we see Riddle hit a beauty of a floating bro off the platform back into the pit. It looks as if Riddle's going to fight back into this one, but he ends up clashing into the cage, and the moment of malfunction leads Timothy Thatcher to lock in the RNC, that rear naked choke onto Riddle. Despite the fact that Riddle is able to still move, he tries to crash Thatcher into the steel cage sides to break him off. Thatcher will not let go of the submission. They both hit the ground. Angle checks Riddle's arm 3 times, and he's done. Call for the bell. Technical knockout. Timothy Thatcher has beaten Matt Riddle in the first ever cage fight on NXT, and the show goes off the air with Thatcher on the platform celebrating his victory. This was an A+. This was something so fresh and so new and so gripping between these two, and this is where they played this so well, because just the other week we had Riddle and Thatcher in this very Bloodsport-like type match where it was something new for the audience, and we kind of got an idea that, hey, Riddle has got this background in mixed martial arts, and Thatcher can sort of match him move for move. Riddle barely beat him last time. So WWE introduced this style to an audience that may not know what it is. So then this week, they've gone, okay, you know what they do. We're going to give it you a little bit harder. We're going to give it you a little bit longer, and we're going to put it in a cage. And that is what they did. This is where we have gone from eating cheddar 2 weeks ago to going to a cheese fest 2 weeks on. Like they brought us along the way. They haven't just gone, hi there, how you doing? Here's a cage match, it's knockout or tap out. They've told the story. It seems like basic storytelling, but they've told it so simply but so beautifully. And Timothy Thatcher is in such a strong category now in NXT after this win. He was brought in very kind of unusual circumstances, but now he's very much cemented as a real guy to contend with in NXT. And Matt Riddle, who is on his way out, really proved himself and went out the right way, putting over somebody else who sort of takes his spot now in NXT. Couldn't fault this. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. It's an A+. Overall this week, NXT was a B+. Solid main event. Lots of stuff to look forward to, not just next week, but as we get towards TakeOver in your house. I think we're in for a fun ride when we get there. Nice to see some people in the crowd this week, despite some of my reservations about reactions. It's nice to have a little bit of atmos there again. NXT is on a path to more great things. Cheers. Oni, Danny, I did it.